Hello there guys, RMP792 here. This vlog's going to be a little weird. Trifle backstory of how why this is going around my head. I've been working on a project with a friend of mine recently. You'll hear more about it when it's sort of ready to do something with. But he's been sending me Facebook messages about it and keep me informed of how his end of things is going. And he got a little annoyed with me because I wasn't responding terribly quickly. And his comment is it made me seem like I wasn't interested. And nothing could be further from the truth. I was interested in what he was sending me. And I am enjoying working on this particular project with him. But it made me realise something. I really, really hate text messaging. And this is true whether I'm texting with a phone, this is true whether I'm using Facebook messages, anything like that. And I was originally just going to talk to him about it when I saw him in person and sort of explain why I'm like this. And then I realised that this weirdness with me actually affects the channel as well, because I always say that I read every single comment that gets put on the channel, and that is absolutely true. I read every one of them. But it's very rare that I reply. And there's a simple reason for that. And it's the same reason why I've never commented on a YouTube video or anything like that. I almost never comment on things because I really hate trying to convey my opinion through text. And the older I'm getting, the worse it's getting. I'm realising how much I loathe texting as a means of communication. Don't get me wrong, I happen to think it has its uses. But to me, texting is a fantastic way of arranging a time and a place for a face-to-face communication. Even if that, I massively prefer to actually sit down next to someone and talk to them. I will certainly settle for a phone call if talking to them face-to-face isn't viable, but I need to be able to hear their voice. I can't have any kind of serious conversation over text message because I hate it. And I didn't realise how bad it was until I realised that if I get a message and I will either respond immediately, or I will put it on the back burner, and then I will just never get round to actually replying to it. This is particularly bad if it catches me when I'm driving or something like that, because I'll be driving and I'll get a message and I'll wait for the next traffic light or whatever, and I'll quickly check. Okay, it's nothing that requires me to sort of pull over and immediately respond. I can leave it until I get home, and then I'll completely not respond to it. And the problem with that is that when I'm trying to write a response in text, it takes me forever. If I'm trying to write somebody asked me a simple question the other day. Somebody in the comments section put a thing up that basically said, do I take requests from the comments? And it took me quite a long time to write up a response to that where I was happy with the way I'd worded it. And when I say quite a long time, it's only like a paragraph response. It took me about 25 minutes until I was happy with the way I'd worded it. And that's the problem when I try to do messaging and texting and that sort of thing. I obsess over getting the wording exactly right. Whereas when I'm doing it, spoken like this, I'm much more calm and natural. I mean, even when I'm doing a review, I write up scripts for those reviews, but I don't 100% stick to them in terms of if I'll be pronouncing it, and there's almost always variation from my script compared to what I actually say, because partially it's quite tricky to actually just memorize the whole thing, because I usually basically read each line of text through, read it aloud, and then record it, and it's usually it's pretty close, but it's rarely spot on perfect. But that's okay because it comes out much more natural. You especially compare it to some of the early reviews where, before I sort of really got the hang of things and I was actually reading, there was literally a script off beside the camera and I was just reading it directly. And, I think my style's got a lot more natural and a lot less stilted these days, which I think is better. But I find it very, very difficult to convey any kind of emotional response using a text message. And my problem is I often say things that I think are quite arrogant, but I deliberately do it in a sort of slightly self-deprecating way. And I find it incredibly hard to convey that kind of image or that kind of idea through a text message. So anything that I say, I'm constantly worried that I sound like I'm being really arrogant. Or I sound like I'm saying something that's actually kind of horrible, but I'm saying it in a sort of jokey, friendly manner. And even if I know that the person's probably going to understand that I was being a bit sarcastic, I'm so worried that they're not going to get that I have to, sometimes I'll deliberately write in that, or I'll put a little thing where I'll say something ridiculous, and really sort of horrible, and then put, it's never a good sign when I can't, when somebody could leave this comment and actually mean it. Which kind of, it allows me to sort of poke fun at other people while also making it very clear that I'm not being serious. But I can't be doing that constantly in text messages, and I don't know why. I think it's another one of my issues, because I'll freely admit I have a whole bunch of issues. But that I am really, really unconfident about anything that I write down. And if I'm going to get the chance to say it, I'm not too bad. But if it's just written down, I get really twitchy about it. I'll go back and rewrite things time and time and time and time again until I'm happy with them. And even if it's a short, simple acknowledgement message, I'll agonise for 5 minutes over getting the wording exactly right. And it's ridiculous. And I'll freely admit, that is a problem with me. It's not really a problem with texting as a thing, but I'll freely admit, I don't get how people can have long conversations via text. I mean, I have literally seen two people in a restaurant sitting across from each other, texting each other instead of talking to each other. And that sounds like an exaggeration. It's really not. As in, they were literally sitting there and you just get the occasional, oh, you'll like this one. And then they text each other, so they go, and I thought, okay, did they just send each other a humorous image? But no, I went past them 30 seconds later because I happened to be nipping up to the bar, and just seeing that all they're doing is texting, and you're just sitting across from each other, talk to each other like normal goddamn people. And there is nothing quite like railing against modern technology to make you feel old. I mean, come on, I'm only 24 for God's sake, and there are times when I feel like I'm about 60. My knees creak, my joints ache, and, I rail against all the kids. Admittedly, I've railed against the kids since I was about 12, so, But yeah, so yes, the reason why I don't reply to comments on the channel very often is because I don't have the confidence to do it. When I try to, I will agonise over whether I've got the wording right for ages and ages and ages, until eventually I'm just like, okay, that'll have to do. It sucks, but it'll do. And I appreciate that's not very helpful. I need to get better at replying to comments because I don't want any of you to think that I don't appreciate you, because I really do. Even the guy who commented on one of this morning's Planet Stronghold videos by saying, "First!" I never ever comment on anything unless I have something worth saying. And because I have quite a low value... seems odd for a guy who reviews things, but I have a very low opinion of my own opinion. Most of the time, I don't think I have anything unique and interesting to say unless you give me a decent chunk of time to say it. Unless you give me like 15 minutes to talk about it, I'm probably not going to be saying anything massively interesting. And I appreciate I'm probably shooting my own channel in the foot by saying that, but the thing is, that's my opinion on my opinion. And as I say, it's a problem with me. I should have more confidence in myself. Here's the thing. On an intellectual level, I know that I am a reasonably well-spoken, reasonably competent, person with a fairly decent knowledge base. But I don't have the arrogance, or for that matter the confidence, to claim anything more than that. And that really does extend to my problem with texting. I don't trust myself to text or do any messaging via texts, or text-based things that doesn't come off just sounding really terrible. It's the same way that, as I say, when I'm face to face with someone, I'm a lot more confident, largely because I can't moderate myself moment to moment, if that makes sense. In terms of, if I said something, I've said it. Whereas if I'm texting, then I'll type something and then I'll go, oh no, don't want to phrase it that way. Which means that if you talk to me in person, I'm a lot more personable than I am if you're trying to talk to me via a messaging service. Which, I suspect I'm not the only one who's like that. Seriously, does anybody else really hate it? Admittedly, asking that on a video where the comment section is text-based is probably really unhelpful, because anyone who does genuinely sort of hate that stuff as much as I do will basically just go, well, I kind of agree with you, but I'm not commenting. No. So yeah, it's a personal quirk and a personal foible, and honestly, it is a problem, and it is one that I do need to get over, because, let's face it, in this modern world, I need to be able to communicate with people using texting, using Facebook messaging, using, I don't know, what other things that the kids use, and I need to get into the habit of responding to more of people's comments, because, as I say, sometimes you'll say things that I'll genuinely find amusing, or I'll enjoy reading, and I should be able to, even if it's just a simple, this made me laugh, thank you, just to let you guys know that I appreciate you as much as I do. But I don't know, I don't know where it comes from, but for whatever reason, I agonize over things when I text, at least with face-to-face communication. I mean, let's face it, this has been 13 minutes of me just shooting my mouth off, waffling, and I'm more confident if I'd attempted to write any of this down, it would have gone through 12 rewrites and taken me an hour and a half before I even got to the goddamn point. So, yeah, it's a problem with me, it's one I need to get the hell over. But knowing you have the problem and solving the problem, two very, very different things. So, yeah, thank you for listening to this waffle, and and thank you for watching my stuff. I don't deserve you guys, frankly, and yeah, all I can really say is thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in future videos.